Okay, guys, I'm starting now. So, guys, today's session is basically on the workshop. So, it will be totally on the WAF part with the lab setup. So, I'll be doing all the labs and showing you the practical how the advanced WAF works. It's a practical workshop which we have decided to start. So, today is the first day. We will have 3 days workshop regarding the same. So, first of all, guys, you need to understand what is WAF. And what is the difference between WAF versus LTM? So that are the two questions which comes into the mind of every person right now. So the first question is, what is F5 WAF? So this question can be termed as WAF or this can be termed as ASM, which is called Application Security Manager. So these two terms, some people will term as WAF, some people will term as ASM, and how it is deployed in our production environment. So guys, when I talk about WAF or an ASM, so that comes across your layer 7 security device. Whenever you heard about WAF or ASM, it's called layer 7 security device. And the full form is Web Application Firewall. Some people will say it as Application Security Manager. Okay, these are the two terms which gets integrated. So why it is required? What is Web Application Firewall? So Web Application Firewall as a term states that it protects against your web application vulnerabilities. So you all have must heard about the term called OWASP top 10. So right now we have firewalls, we have layer 7 firewalls, but WAF is deployed inside of the application. So let's say I have client coming from internet, then we have one firewall, then there is F5, and after that there is layer 2 switch, and after that we have multiple servers behind that ASM. So in a production environment, guys, WAF will be placed before your application servers. So my main role is of a WAF is to protect these servers. So you can see there are different types of attacks happening: SQL injection, cross-site scripting attacks, parameter tampering. So all these terms comes under your WAF. So what is the advantage we come across is, before F5 forward the traffic, let's say this client is an hacker and he got an access to your network and he wants to compromise your network security devices. Let's say he got an access to this server or this server. After that he can play. But F5 when comes into the picture, which is called your proxy device, in that case, it will first check the traffic, whether there is an attack or there is no attack. So there are two models which we will be talking about is positive security model versus negative security model. When we talk about advanced WAF or a WAF we talked about, there are two terms which comes into the logic. But you need to understand how exactly the WAF is placed. So WAF in a production environment is placed like this. I will show you in the picture environment. So you have a client environment, then you have an F5, then you have a server. In a production environment, ASM traffic flow is like this. So people have concerns. What is the difference built in LTM versus ASM? So guys, both works as a load balancer. Okay. So F5 is a company which has introduced this product and there are different modules which comes into picture. So we have one module called LTM module, One module is called ASM module, which is a WAF module in the picture. Now, what is the difference between LTM and ASM? That is the most important thing which came across our mind every time. So let's go across that and let's think about this first. Difference between LTM and ASM. So in this case, when I talk about LTM module, guys, LTM is termed as your local traffic manager. What does exactly this means is, I have a client who wants to publish his application behind a load balancer. Let's say I have my application called SIANETS.com. Okay, they want to publish this website on internet and behind F5. Now my main purpose is I want to publish this website across multiple servers. So everyone knows that LTM is a load balancer, which typically means the traffic which comes from multiple client over the internet. It can go to either server 1, server 2, or server 3. That is called equal distribution of your traffic. Now here, traffic is going to F5. Is F5 able to capture that my traffic is good or not? No, guys. In LTM, it can perform as a load balancer device. It can distribute your load over multiple applications. But can I detect it whether there is a web security vulnerability? So traffic, is this client a hacker or not? Is there any vulnerability in this application or not? No, guys. Simple load balancer can only distribute the load of the multiple clients so that your traffic is getting equally utilized. Overloading is not happening. Now, when ASM comes into the picture, guys, it will be able to detect whatever is coming in HTTP request. When I called F5 ASM, its duty is first to detect your vulnerability, then to block your vulnerability. Vulnerabilities are nothing but a web application attacks. These are called your layer 7 attacks, which comes in your application. I want to find that I want to protect this server. My main role is I want to protect this server from layer 7 attacks, or it can be termed as a vast top 10. So nowadays, web application firewall can detect your bots. There are botnets, bot traffic, attacks. There are different attacks which are coming in the market, ransomware, cross-site scripting, SQL injection. It detects from all these attacks. Then there are parameter tampering attacks. Then there is a traffic which is coming as DDoS. I want to protect my application from DDoS. So F5 WAF protects from all the web application vulnerability. Why it is called WAF or web application firewall? Because it blocks your layer 7 vulnerabilities. That is the main agenda behind WAF. So you can deploy WAF behind your firewall. First, traffic will protect, firewall generally protect your network, but your WAF will detect your server from different attacks, whether it's a known threats or it's an unknown threats. That is termed as your web application firewall. And how it is applied, guys. So if I draw a topology, a simple topology for you guys, I have a devices. Let's say client 1, client 2, client 3. They are coming from internet. Then we have a data center. Okay. This is called your data center device. Then there is F5 hosted in this data center. After there are multiple servers. And this server is hosting your application called SIANETS.com. Now I want to protect my customer says that, hey Vidit, I want to make sure that my website is 24/7 availability. Okay, that is the first thing which customer wants. That can be achieved by local traffic manager. Okay, that you people are already learning that F5 LTM is a load balancer, which means even one server goes down, my application traffic can goes from this server and this server. So we have 24/7 availability, plus we have scalability also. Now customer says, hey Vidit, I want my application in 24/7 available, but I want my application to be secure also. I want security. If some bad traffic is coming, if some hacker is coming from this client, someone is coming from internet, I want my application to be secure also. So security means I want to protect my application from web application attacks. So that we need to know, see how that can be protected. So it can be your brute force attack, DDoS attacks, remote site scripting attacks, session hijacking, even brute force attack, bot. So right now your applications are on cloud. So your major concern is how you will secure. That is the major concern which comes into the picture. That how you can protect your application from web security attacks. And people will ask you this question, your WAF works on which layer? My question is, when I talk about F5 WAF, it works on which layer? So it works on your layer 7. It protects your application layer. I can say, hey, customer, I can provide you load balancer functionality also. I can provide you security feature also. So that is why F5 WAF with LTM is in huge demand in market, guys, because it provides you web application plus API security also, plus DDoS protection also, plus mobile protection also. Nowadays application are using mobile. Let's say you build an application, people are accessing through mobile, so that can also be protected. We will see different layer. So that is why it is called web application firewall, because it works on layer 7. Layer 7 means application layer. Around 60-70% companies are started using WAF, guys, because they know that my major concern is I want to protect these servers, and these servers are then connecting to my database. This is my database. So I want to protect this layer, and this can be protected by your WAF device. Okay. And how F5 is protecting? Let's say this is my client one coming from internet. Then there is an F5. Then there are multiple servers across F5. And F5 is known as your full proxy architecture. And majorly it protects from 8443. WAF generally protects from your HTTP plus HTTPS based attacks. It can also provide you FTP related security, but mostly your applications are web application. So that is why it protects from your HTTP and HTTPS. So if you have to have good knowledge on ASM, you should have little knowledge on HTTP and HTTPS layer, how this protocol works in market. Let's say one example I will give you. I have a customer called Ram. I have a customer called Shyam. Okay. I have a customer called Vidit. They want to access my application which is on ASM or an LTM module. There is an application called SIANETS.com which is deployed. Right now, I don't have a WAF device. Now, what happens? I have server 1, server 2, and server 3. So client connects via HTTP protocol. Let's say they type HTTPS www.sianets.com. So traffic which comes from this layer to this layer, that is called your HTTP request layer. And whatever response server is giving, so when you get a web page in your website, that is called your response layer. Now, Vidit, let's say, is an hacker. Okay. He is using one of the methods. So by default, guys, F5 WAF allows only get and post method. So when we will learn about HTTP protocol, there are different methods which are available in HTTP methods. So you have heard about get method, post method, delete method. Now, guys, if I have an application cnets.com and there is an hacker, he initiated one request which is called delete. Now, F5 does not have a protection against your website. So what does delete method will do? It will delete all your server's web pages. So that is a security concern, right? My organization does not have proper security. It is working on HTTP layer, but it does not protect against your delete method. So if I allow delete method, this is one of the vulnerability across your application. It can delete all your database behind your application. So when HTTP WAF is deployed inside your application, what will happen? When delete method is initiated, F5 will check whether delete method is allowed or not. If delete method is not allowed, guys, it will block your traffic. And it will say to the client that request is blocked. Because you are using delete method, it will not forward your traffic to server 1, server 2, and server 3. Because your web applications are vulnerable. Internet application nowadays are vulnerable. So you need to protect it. Let's say I have a brute force attack. Okay. Now someone wants to perform a brute force attack. Brute force attack means I have an ICICIbank.com website. In ICICIbank.com, I have a username one parameter and I have a password one parameter. Do you see when you enter 3 wrong password, what comes? Anyone on the chat? When you enter 3 wrong password, what you get? That you are maximum attempts are reached. So your account is logged. So where it is logged? What does it mean? So they have a web application firewall which is protecting against your brute force attack. So you want your application to be accessible plus security also. If I don't have WAF, guys, then traffic comes from F5. It will not check whether traffic is good or bad. It will just forward your traffic to web server directly. So when I talk about HTTP protocol, guys, you have a website called like http://sianets.com. Then let's say you have KB, EN, US. So this is very important, which I am telling you now, guys. Then you have a product call. Let's say customer came into me Radhe. Radhe is asking me that, hey Vidit, I want to purchase your WAF videos. So can anyone tell me what is this in HTTP layer? 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 Very, very important, guys. When we talk about F5 ASM, you need to know how HTTP protocol works, whether you are into automation, whether you are into cloud security. You should have good knowledge on TCP layer, HTTP layer. So this is called your protocol. This is called your URL. This is called your URI. Whatever comes after URL, that is called your URI. Okay, this you can say as a host name also in HTTP layer. What is this, guys? Can you see after question mark there is a product term? What does this product means? This whatever comes under after question mark is called your parameter field. So you are saying that go to SIANETS.com, then search for product called ASM. So that is called query string in F5. So if you learn this, you will able to understand how F5 HTTP layer works. It's not difficult. So it's been segregated. Can you see one URL which you access? It's been segregated between different layers. So right now, most of the attacks which are coming into picture are 70% attacks are related to phishing. 54% attacks are related to malware. So great, guys. There are two things which you get from this workshop plus further courses is you will get good in cyber security basic knowledge. Right now in market, guys, people are looking for network plus network security plus cyber security persons plus cloud security. Cloud security is nothing but you need to protect your application. Either it can be deployed in hardware or it can be deployed in cloud. So we will be covering how we will give 24/7 protection, how to protect different vulnerabilities, and what are OWASP top 10. Can anyone tell me OWASP top 10? What does OWASP top 10? This question will be asked in any interview, whichever you give for cyber security. So before that, guys, since it's a workshop, I want to cover one lab. How to integrate F5 LTM with ASM. What does it mean? Anyone? My customer says, hey, with it, I want to deploy LTM with ASM. Okay. So how you will deploy? What things you need to take consideration, guys? I have a requirement. This is the first lab for the ASM workshop. First requirement is I want to integrate my F5 LTM. Customer was previously using F5 LTM and they have deployed 10 application. Okay, please understand the requirement carefully. I have F5 load balancer with 10 applications. Okay, and these 10 applications are performing load balancing. Now customer says, hey Vidit, can I provide security also for this? I want to secure 5 applications from this 10 application in F5. So I will say, yeah, we can purchase an ASM license. So whenever you deploy, guys, F5 from scratch, first thing is you will configure management IP. Second thing is license part, which is very, very important. So in license, what you will take care? Whether your current load balancer device F5 is having license for LTM versus ASM. because you want to use both the features. So let's do the lab. How you can provision LTM and ASM license together. So I will log in into my management IP. We will do all labs, guys, side by side in workshop. We'll try to cover basics. Then our batch, you already know we are starting one batch. You can decide accordingly. Can you see this right now? When I go to system tab, so in F5 terms, guys, we were talking in state of SIANETS.com. We were talking about servers. Can someone tell me when client initiated traffic to F5 on SIANETS.com, then it goes further to different servers. In F5 term, what does this term means? What does SIANETS.com means in F5? I want to deploy one application on F5. What I need to do, guys, in F5? A simple question, guys, I'm asking to you people. When I want to deploy one application on F5, what I need to do? Anyone? Let's make it interactive. No, guys, we don't need to. App ID is a concept in Palo Alto. My question is, I want to deploy. Customer says, I have cnets.com. I want to deploy behind F5. What I need to do? I need to create a virtual server, which is called web. Whenever excellent Vivek and Divank, we need to first create a virtual server. After that, guys, what does this terms means in your F5? These are called your pool members. So your client traffic will always go to virtual server, and virtual server in F5 is called web. So you need to apply a security on this virtual server. I have one application created as 192.168.1.120. Okay. Now this virtual server is created with pool member servers. Now I want to apply a security, guys. What I need to do? So here the term comes ASM. In ASM, there is a term called security policy. That is the term which comes into picture. So that security policy will be applied on your virtual server because all your traffic will hit virtual server. That is why I'm applying a security policy because all traffic will come to front end. So once I apply a security policy, F5 will scan whether traffic is good or bad. So before that, guys, before creating a security policy, I need to have a license. I need to have a license which contains both these modules, LTM and ASM. So how to check? Go to System tab, License. First of all, you need to check whether your F5 contains LTM license. So how you can check? See, you have one trial license. What are the features they have? Can you see one ASM? So we have a license for ASM. We have a license for SSL. We have a license for Advanced WAF also. So we have license available. We are good here. Suppose if you don't have a license, then you need to call F5 and ask for license related to ASM. Now, after that, that's fine. You need to go to resource provisioning. Can you tell me, guys, this F5 is working as an LTM module or ASM also from this picture? Right now, we have seen that this module is using LTM and ASM. We can use this, but are we using any ASM feature here? No, guys. That is where the term called resource provisioning comes into picture. That is where license is one thing, but you need to provision that feature to use. Now my customer says I want to protect cnets.com. which is configured as IP 192.168.1.120. First thing I need to do is I will provision this as none. Instead of none, I will select it as nominal. So now this box is acting as a load balancer also. And this box is also acting as your web application firewall. Very, very important. Now, some customer says I want to use DNS also, which is a GTM module. And that's guys, I need to select this module. So you can use single box as different module. So this is how first lab, how to integrate LTM with ESM. So first thing we checked whether it's a license, then we are checking resource. So you select nominal and submit. So once you change anything here, guys, your services will get restarted. So always do this activity when you are in HA. If you're not in HA, you need to take a maintenance window. So once it started, I will show you how it works. And let's say now another question comes into picture as a design. Where does a WAF fits? I want to deploy WAF in my environment. So where you can do it this? So in this guys, I have different clients, client 1, client 2. Then I have one DDoS box. Then I have a network firewall. Then I have IDS IPS also here. Then comes your F5 LTM. And behind that you will deploy WAF. And then there is a layer which is called application infra. So guys, this is the best design which you will deploy. So it will optimize, it will help you to properly utilize your resources, plus performance, plus reliability. Can you see this WAF is always deployed near your application infra? So here you have multiple servers. So always WAF is deployed near to your application layer. It is a recommendation by F5 that WAF should be deployed behind a load balancer. So some protections can be done by DDoS, some protections can be done by network. So this is called a best hybrid security architecture, which is deployed in a market. And nowadays, every company is using Wi-Fi because all things are digital. So I need performance, I need security, I need visibility. So there comes your WAF device. I want my application to be vulnerable. I don't want, right? So I want to protect my application from vulnerability and attacks. Right now, automation attacks are coming, automated attacks, botnets are coming. I need to protect that. So that is where your WAF comes into picture, where I want my application to be 24/7 secure. So now let's come back to that picture where we were talking about device. So in this, what will happen is now my customer has deployed LTM versus security device. Okay, so we have done the license path and resource provisioning. Now, can you see this? You will go to resource provisioning. You will see LTM and ESM, and you will see one tab called security tab. If you are using only LTM, this security tab will not come into picture. Now, next workshop lab comes into picture is, so we have seen that what is WAF, and how WAF is placed in your environment, current infra, how you have placed it. Now, next thing is, which comes into picture is how to create policy. Because I need to apply my security policy into F5 virtual server. So let's see how we can apply that. So you need to go to security policy. Here you need to go to application security, then security policy. So we are seeing how to create a new policy and how to apply on a virtual server. So I will go to create option. Can you see this? Do you want to apply security policy on existing virtual server or a new virtual server, or do not want to associate? So I will say I don't want to associate with any virtual server. I will do it later on. Now click on next. So this is a deployment scenario when you want to apply a WAF security policy on a virtual server. So I will go next. Now we will talk about there are different deployment modes. Either you can create a policy automatically, or either rapid deployment, or either you can create a policy using templates also. Most of the time, guys, this question comes into picture. Do you want to create a policy automatically or manual? So there are three most common use method for deployments are automatic security policy, manual security policy versus template based. So if you are beginner, okay, in a WAF, if you are beginner, in that case, I will always suggest you to go with automatic security policy, guys. In automatic, what happens is you have less manual intervention. All things will be done by F5 WAF. So always start small. If you have heard about best security, always start with small. By default, F5 works as a negative security model. Interview question will ask you, what is difference between negative security model versus positive? This question will be asked. Negative means, guys, everything is allowed initially and slowly you will block it. So what does small means? I will start analyzing my traffic, then I will block it so that I'd get false positive list alerts. So if you're good in WAF, if you have good knowledge, then you can deploy a rapid deployment. But I will always deploy a policy if I'm a beginner, automatic. So I will, can you see this? Recommended. So I will say start a security policy automatic. I will click on next. I will give the name here ASM policy or PHP. Application language. Most of the application are learning on Unicode. That's it. Next. Here, the most important terms comes into picture. You need to ask your application owner or a customer, what is your operating system which you are running on your application server? What is the web server technology you are running? Are your servers Apache? I'm talking about these servers, server 1, server 2, which are behind F5. Whether your servers which are running behind F5, are they running on Windows or Unix, Linux? Are they IIS servers or Apache or other web servers? What is the language they are running, guys? Are you using .NET, ESP, PHP? And what is the database? Are you using MongoDB, MySQL? Why it is important, guys, is whatever you select here, signatures will be applied according to that. Let's say your application is Windows. Why I need signatures related to Linux? Are you getting me? That is very, very important. So this question will be asked from application owner. Let's say my application is Unix Linux and it is Apache based server. And my framework is PHP. My application is based on PHP. And my database is MySQL. So my signatures will be automatically assigned. So that are called your attack signatures, guys. Whatever operating system web technology you apply, your attack signatures will come automatically. Very, very important, guys. This question will be asked in interview whether you want to deploy security policy rapid or automatic, and what are the operating system server technology. This is important. So this answer will be coming from your application owner. Okay, now I will click on next. So can you see this? We will talk about in different workshops what is difference between this. Fundamental. In automatic, there are three modes: fundamental, enhanced, and comprehensive. And it is giving you what features are involved in fundamental. It can protect from HTTP protocol compliance, attack signature, HTTP methods. If you go with enhance, it gives you more security. If you go with comprehensive, this is the most secure device policy. If you apply comprehensive, it can give you more false positive alerts also. But it is a most secure device policy which I recommended if you are becoming good. Now I will click next. So we are going with fundamental. Now I will click on finish. So this is how your security policy is created. That's it. I have created first virtual server, then I created security. No, before that, what are the steps we have done so far, guys? First step, we have checked the license. Very, very important, guys. You can note these steps because this is a practical workshop. Second, you checked your resource provisioning. Third step, you created security policy. Fourth step, can anyone tell me what is the fourth step now? I want to apply this security policy, which is a layer 7 policy on my virtual server. So how I do? I will go to local traffic, virtual server, and this is my virtual server which I have created. So I will go to this virtual server. Can you see this security? Can you see this policy? I will just, can you see this? There is nothing coming under this. Why, guys? Anyone can tell me why I'm not getting any security policy option? This is an important interview question. Anyone on the chat? When I click on a virtual server, I'm not getting a security policy option to be applied. I created one layer 7 policy, which I want to apply on my virtual server, but I'm not getting any option. What is the prerequisite? Anyone? No, Venkat, we have not mapped it. That's what we have to map it, right? Mapping is not happening. SSL, it's not needed, sir. It's an HTTP SSL. It does not necessarily means. I want to integrate. I've created this security policy. Apply your mind, guys. We have created this policy. Now I want to apply this on my virtual server. Can you see any field here which is missing? Whenever there is WAF, WAF is deployed under which layer? HTTP layer. Can you see in web there is any HTTP profile? I'm not able to see any HTTP profile. So that is mandatory. Whenever you want to integrate your security policy with WAF, you need to first call a HTTP profile because WAF works on your HTTP layer. Now I will save it. By default, it's a TCP layer virtual server. but I want to apply layer 7. So F5 should be capable to handle layer 7. So in that case, there is a term called HTTP. So we have bind an HTTP profile. That is very important question, guys, which will be asked in interview. Now I will go to security policy. Can you see this, guys? I am getting an option. I will enable it. And what is my policy name? Update. And log profile also, so that I can get logs also. So I will enable this and I will say log all requests. This I will tell you. But my question was how to call a policy on my virtual server. So now if I open my website, I will open my website. What was my virtual server? 1.120. So I'm entering a wrong. It's 1.120. See guys, my application is open and I want to protect this application from various attacks. So we will perform all attacks and I will show you how F5 protects either SQL injection, brute force, DDoS, DOS. Then there is a parameter tampering. We will perform all attacks. So if someone wants to see all perform any attacks on this application, so this application is vulnerable, guys. So when you do any VAPT on this application, you will see that this application is vulnerable. Anyone can come to this website and can see your username and password. So I need to protect it. So if I enter here, let's say this. Without login, I'm able to see all username and password. I will show you. Can you see? Without login into my website, I'm able to see all credit cards and number. So this type of attack is called SQL injection, where you can see all your database of your user. So to protect it, guys, I need to apply attack signature. Now my question is, when you deploy a security policy, guys, initially, when you create a security policy in F5, it should be on transparent mode or blocking mode, anyone. So there are two modes in F5. One is transparent, one is blocking. Initially, you are new to F5. You want to see how the traffic comes in. So what is the best suggestion? So always deploy your policy on transparent mode. Then see what type of attacks are coming in your production environment. So this was all about today's workshop, guys.